Hello and welcome to yet another session in Bhagwad Gita. In this week's session, we're going to further understand from Shri Krishna about the properties of Atman, the most important, crucial lessons of Bhagwad Gita have already started last week, and we are in the middle of it. In order for all of us to get back to where we dropped off last week or week before, I'd like to start off with a story so that we refresh our memory and also appreciate the verses that we are going to see today. This is a story from Upanishads. A boy called Nachiketa. He was arguing with his father, Vajasravas. Sage Vajasravas wanted to perform a yajna. He wanted to give away, donate all his belongings, not just as a philosophy or not just as a principle of dharma, but he wanted to please the gods so that he's blessed with more powers. So Sage Vajasravas started giving away all his valuables. Cows were considered to be a valuable in those days. Even today, it is a valuable for many of us. And so he donated cows to people. When he was doing so, Nachiketa was observing, what is my dad doing? Okay, I know that we need to donate, but my father is giving away all the weak cows, the cows that doesn't give any milk anymore, or the cows that are so weak that they cannot be employed for any productive work. My father is giving away all those cows to people. And what are they going to do with those cows? That is not the way that one should donate. Whenever donations are made, we must give away the most precious of our valuables, not the useless stuff that we have in our house, right? That was the point that Nachiketas was trying to drive home with his father. He asked him, countered him and asked, I know about this sacrificial yajna that you are performing, father, with all due respects. Why is it that we are giving away all the weak cows? Why can't we give the good ones? And if you are doing this kind of thing, our ancestors have not done this anyway. So if you are doing this, father, who are you going to give me to? He just asked that question. At times when arguments erupt, we will ask just one question out of emotions, right? Just springs up, outburst, just ask some question. Father didn't answer Nachiketas for the first time. Second time also he asked, so who are you going to give me to? Father didn't answer, but his anger was riling up. He was just holding on to it. He doesn't want to utter any words yet. But for the last time when Nachiketas persisted and asked, so who are you going to give me to? Then Vajasravas, Nachiketas' father, could not hold it anymore. He broke down. He couldn't hold it. He said, I'm going to give you to the god of death, Yama. Now go away. go to his abode. As soon as he uttered those words, Nachiketas was magically transformed into the world of Yama. He was in Yama's abode, and at that time when he reached Yama's abode, Yama was not there. God of death was away on a business trip. We know what his business is. And so he was not there. Nachiketas had to wait. He waited for a day and he waited for 2 days. The authorities over there, they said that documentation is not clear, so we would not admit you. Let our boss come back, then we will send you in. So they didn't admit, they made him wait for 3 days. Finally, Yama, the god of death, returned home when he saw that this boy Nachiketas was waiting. And he hurried up and went and asked, "Dear boy, I made you wait for 3 days. This has never happened before, and I'm really ashamed of myself. Guests should never be made to wait for so long. And how dare I did this offense?" Then he said, "Now that I did a mistake, I will have to make it up with you. So ask for 3 boons. I'm ready to give." So first boon, Nachiketas immediately asked that my father was actually thinking that he might be, he is already feeling bad that he offended and he uttered those words, and because of him I'm here. Now, when I returned home, he should not be mad at me. Instead, he should be smiling to me. So please give me that boon. He didn't ask that I want to go back home. He said, smart boon, right? When I go home, he shouldn't be mad at me. Yama said, okay, granted. Go for your second boon. Then second boon, Nachiketas asked that in those days, and even today also many people do, fire yajna, how to perform that. Fire yajna is considered to be a skill, and it can be done for many, many reasons, right? For wealth or health or anything, fire yajna is important. And so he learned, I wanted to learn fire yajna from you. And Yama was very happy that you asked the right question. I'm here to teach you everything about fire puja. He taught everything. Now Nachiketa is quite happy. Yama finally asked, you have one more boon, go ahead and ask. At that time, Nachiketas asked, I hear from people that thing in our body, they say that it is there and it is not there. You know, when it is there, they say the body is active, and when it is not there, the body is lifeless, it falls down to the ground. I want to know more about that. I want to know what happens after death. As a curious youth, Nachiketas asked that question. Yama didn't quite expect that. He said that no, I don't think I will ever. He fumbled. He couldn't answer because he didn't expect that question from this young boy. He said, I'm sorry, even gods are not sure about that question. I don't think I will ever answer you this question. I wanted you to ask any other boon. Nachiketas was adamant. They said that now his interest, his curiosity even more increased, especially when someone says no. That is when our curiosity will be even more, right? Now he says, no, I don't want any other boon. I wanted to know only about that thing. Is there anything at all after death? What happens? I'm curious. What is there inside us that leaves us? And what is the beauty of it? What is the secret behind it? Is there any secret at all, or it is all just nothing? I wanted to know. He said again, no, I'm not going to do that. Instead, Ask for any riches. You want to be the most richest person on earth? Once you go back, I will give you all. Your dad did this sacrificial yajna in order to gain powers. You wanted all those, I will give it. But do not ask for that secret. I'm not going to reveal that secret to you. It's not that easy. Go away. You wanted men, you wanted apsaras, you wanted materials, you wanted luxurious chariots, you wanted elephants. I will give you any number, horses, any number, but do not ask for it. But Nachiketas was adamant. He knew that all those things are transient. He smiled at Yama and said that all things that you are offering me will hardly last for few years maybe. But I don't want that. I wanted the most eternal thing, one that lasts forever. The knowledge about this is the most precious one. All these things one can always earn. If I go back, I will earn it. And even if I earn it, what is the use in it? I'm anyway going to lose it one day. Elephants or horses are not going to be there forever. Chariots are not going to be there forever. And I don't want that impermanent pleasures. They are not going to make me happy forever. But the one thing that can ever make me happy for eternity is the knowledge about that secret of what is inside me and what happens after death. Then Yama finally decided that this boy is not going to relent that easily. And Yama yielded to Nachiketa's request and he started telling that secret, revealing that secret to Nachiketas. Now, that secret, it is being mentioned as a secret. The reason is, it is an open secret in a way. That even though it is there, this Atman is there right inside every one of us. Most of us couldn't see that secret, couldn't understand the secret. That is why it is an open secret. We all think that this body is ours, and then we are just walking in this world, enjoying, entertaining the impermanent nature of this body. Whereas the permanent, everlasting, eternal secret, no one is willing to learn or know what is there inside. Not many people, right? I should not say no one. Not many of us are willing to learn. And that is the reason that Krishna himself descended and he decided that my purpose of this birth is to deliver this lecture, because many people have given this lecture and people are not listening. It is not something to be understood easily about something subtle, something that is invisible, that sits inside us and that defines our entire living, that defines who we are and what we do, and that defines post-death, what happens after death. Such an important aspect of our life is right inside us. The secret is not about, many of us will ask many questions about why life is going in a direction that it is going, why it has to be this way while others are enjoying, right? Most of us frequently encounter that question, even within ourselves. I also have asked many times, right? So this type of situation will happen to us, and why me? And how can I resolve this? What is this mystery behind life? So at times I feel like I understand it. Sometimes I'm not understanding it. What is it that is going on? And some people are happy, some people are healthy, while I don't seem like having healthiness or happiness. And what is it that I want? Right? Do I want money? Or when I go behind money, people say that don't be greedy. When I run behind academics or learning something new, people say that don't be too much academic, right? Whatever that we do in this life, in this world, critiques will stop us and say that no, what you're doing is not correct. What is it that I should do? Please give me the prescription, then I'll be willing to do. right? These are the things that one has to do. Okay, blindly we can do it. And these are things that you can enjoy. But there is no fixed prescription, seems like, right? When we are born, this person was, let's say, for example, me, Partha is born and he should do these things, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then he can be happy in life. If someone gives that, I'll be very happy to get them and I'll ready to pay any money. But there is no such thing, right? One has to figure out in this world. We'll try, experiment, and see what works. Oh, this doesn't work. Then what about this? Oh, if we go this, then it hurts many people or it hurts me. That is the only one and only way for anyone in this world. If you look at it, everyone who had become successful, either monetarily or spiritually or in whatever scale that you are using to measure success. If you see around, people who have become successful, they all have figured it out by themselves, right? Whatever success that is. And they think that that is the success, right? If that is the success, and that is the success that they have defined for them. But fundamental principle is to figure out, experiment and figure out and see what works. That is how we all have been living our lives. Now, is there anything beyond that that is driving all this, the decisions? If you medical experts will put it as the intelligence lying in your brain. But is brain the only thing? Brain is just an apparatus. Brain is just an apparatus to shine light in life. But brain is not the only thing that is making us intelligent. Brain is just acting as a tool to bring our intelligence out. For example, I lift this mobile phone with my hand. This hand is a tool for me. I am instructing this hand, right? My hand to go lift this up. But hand doesn't have any intelligence. It cannot, without my knowledge, it cannot go and lift this phone, right? So my intelligence command is from my side. So when I give the command, then it will work. But it's same way, brain is also working under me. Command is me. I'm doing the command to the brain. So who is that? Is the question that we all were looking at 2 weeks ago. And Krishna had laid down the foundation that internally within your material body, there exists minutest of the minutest of the minutest element called Atman that resides inside you, and that drives your entire existence. And that is the secret that one has to understand, appreciate, and experience in their life, so that rest of the things will fall in place. That is the explanation that Yama also gives it to Nachiketa. Nachiketa, inside your heart, deep inside your heart, there is a cave. Inside that cave, a secret weapon has been planted inside you, that cave. And by meditating upon it, you can realize it, reach it, experience it. Then you get answers to all the questions in life, is the explanation that Yama says. Now, Krishna also mentions here that same thing, that your body is not you. Your body is just a materialistic thing. It will just decompose, fall down one day. But unlike the body, there is an eternal thing inside you. That is your Atman. And that life of it is infinite, undefined, because it's been living forever. There was no time in the past that it never had lived. It never was there. And no time in the future that it never will not be there. That means that it always was there. Just like me, Arjuna, your Atman, you. It's not your Atman. It's not your Atman. Like always, we should say that my Atma or your Atma. No. When we say my Atma, your Atma, then that means we didn't understand it. Whenever I say I, it's that Atman. I can say my body. This is my body, and that I is that Atman right there. And when I say you is that Atman. And that Atman, the properties of that Atman is like, it is uniform, it is ever existing, it stays with that Brahman, that Vishnu all the time. It stays with that Vishnu all the time. My Atma stays with that Vishnu all the time. All of your Atma stays with that Vishnu all the time. And that is the reason that we always say that since we, as an Atman, I am closer to Vishnu, the companion, right? The closest companion ever in our existence is not anyone else in this world. Few people will say that dad will rescue, mom will rescue, husband will rescue, wife will rescue, my grandson will save. But the one and only rescuer is for that Atma is, which is me, is that Paramatma, which is Vishnu, right? And he lost us. That Vishnu lost us because we have been going in different directions, not able to orient ourselves to that Vishnu. We have been just thinking ourselves to be this body and then roaming around this earth, not focusing on ourselves. Not focusing on, there is nothing to do with spirituality. If you look at it, this is not Hinduism, this is not Christianity or anything. This is true with any human. And when I say Vishnu, that's just a name. Somebody can call him any other name. There is no difference in that, right? If someone says, I'm going to call that super existence to be Jesus, just be it, so be it, right? Someone else gives some other name, that is not going to alter that super existence. If you look at it, that super soul or Paramatma or Brahman or Vishnu or any name that you call it, that was always there. And where is it? Many people are, where is he? We already saw that one. That super soul existence, if you look at it, it is this entire universe. Whatever that we see is entire universe, and that has that Atma has permeated or engulfed this entire universe. Just like how you walk into a room, dark room, where a lamp was lit, the entire room was filled with the light energy. This entire universe is filled with that energy. So that is the reason that Prahlada said that in this, in that, in this, in that, everywhere it will be there. Where can you say that a light, when that is glowing in a room, the light falls only here? So the light rays will just radiate around, right? There is no one spot. So there is every place, every inch of this room has that light. The same way, that is the reason that Prahlada said, is not just blindly saying that pillar will have Lord Vishnu. He didn't, it's not even though it's a literal sense, but he understood that it just spreads entirely. Same way, our Atma also has spread in our entire body. That is the reason that we feel that energy inside us after the meditation, or when, right? When you feel really energized, that Atman is what is just radiating its energy out. And that is the experience that each one of us have, right? And we think that, oh, I'm just happy. And we define that term to be, I'm just happy. The moment we say, I'm just happy, just stop for a moment and then see who is that is really happy. Is it that my hand, or this body, or this only mind, or what is that happiness? Where is that emerging from? Then we will get the answer, right? This is not, no, the body is not happy because body is okay, but somehow makes me feel happy. Is it just the mind? Is my mind just giving me some happiness because of some reason? Then that is also not true happiness. Like, for example, tomorrow I'm going to get my Tesla car delivered at my house, let's say. Then I'll be quite happy. Oh, once it's there in the front yard, I'll go drive and then see. That happiness is not the right happiness, because once you get the car and then you use it 2-3 days, it becomes old. That day itself, it is old, right? Once you take the car out of the showroom, it becomes an old car, right? And people have researched that once you start by getting more and more and more objects, we think that new things, right? People order multiple stuff, multiple items in Amazon, and then they will just look forward to the next day for delivery. Tomorrow delivery, Prime member, I'll get tomorrow delivery. So they will just wait, look forward to it. The more objects we get, the happiness decreases. It never increases. Ideally, it should be something like that, right? The more we get, more it should. But after using that for 1 or 2 days, the interest in that goes down. And then you go on for the next new thing. And then once you get it, you'll be happy. But once you start. So that is not the happiness that you're talking here. That is not the happiness of the Atma. That is just an emotion arising in our mind. And we think that that is what is happiness, right? What an happy life that he is living, we will say. Or I got a very wonderful life. What is those wonderful life? It is all about these fluctuations, right? It goes up and down and up and down. But the happiness that is emerging from here, out of true peacefulness, out of our true internal core, for no reason at all, spring up and say in the morning and then say that all of a sudden I feel quite happy for no reason at all. That is the state, that's a blissful state. That happiness is coming from our Atman, right? So that is what we are trying to understand now. Now Krishna is going to put forward multiple properties of that Atman. The reason I brought this story up and went on with a detailed discussion is that next few verses are going to focus more on it. And if we are not aligned our mind towards that, then we'll be like boring. It's all just theory. I don't even get what he's saying, right? So then, we lost Bhagwad Gita. That is why I'm saying this is a secret. Only the curious, only the seeker will be interested to see what is inside it. If it is something like a story, then it'll be like, just listen to it. Next, right? It'll all be easier to assimilate and digest. But this is not story. These are concepts. Concepts needs to be understood. That is the jnana. Jnana yoga is purely that. Know that, okay, this is the difference between my body. This is the difference between my body and Atman. And I'll have to differentiate. And that knowledge, you can ask me, how is it going to help me? Fine, I get it. That Atman is everlasting, Atman is pure, Atman is the true intelligence, Atman is the true happiness inside me, and I will have to just realize it. How is it that going to help me? Remember that question. Before that, how is it going to help you is, one thing is, once we understand that I am separate from this body, I am that Atman, and I am separate from this body. There are many advantages that we have. Because whatever that happens to this body is like, this happens just to that body and not to me. That differentiation will drive away the fear of death, number one. Because fear of death is ranked as the number one death among people. For obvious reasons, right? No one wants to die. And that, I'm not saying that tomorrow we should be ready for death, but that death should not scare us anymore. And right now, we are thinking that we will live forever, right? Eternal, which is true. The reason that we think we live forever is we are that Atman. That is why we are thinking that we will live forever. That thought itself is good. But after a while, when we get older and when we get sick, or when we hear about some news about something happening, we will not be perturbed. Our mind will not be disturbed by such events, such news, and such calamities happening around the world for various reasons, right? Now, one more question that you can ask is, when that is so important, why is it that I'm not able to see it? So important and so obvious, and so why is it that we are not able to see such things? Now, at this time, we all are, let me give you an example to make it clear. Again, you are walking into a room, a dark room, and that room is no longer dark because there is a lamp in the middle of the room, a diya lamp that is placed. However, a black container, a bowl, let's say, a bowl is placed around it. Even though a lamp was lit, a bowl was placed around it as a means to cover that lamp. Now, would that room be dark or would that room be bright? It will be dark, right? Because obviously the light is shining. The diya is shining its light. It's ready to give its energy. But then someone has covered that diya with a bowl, and the light rays are being blocked. And somewhere here and there, some holes in that bowl, light will go through that. And we will see that there is some light in the house, and we will be able to see that, but with a murkier, right? It won't be that clean, crisp, and clear, but it will be a little bit grayish, and you'll be able to see few areas, not able to see few areas, right? Because some holes, through that, some light will emerge. Now, what is happening is precisely this, exactly the analogy that happens in our life also. That Atman inside us is ready to show and display and manifest, which is us, ready to manifest all our brilliance, intelligence, and happiness. But something had happened. Some container, some bowl has been placed around it. And who placed it? Ourselves. And if we remove that bowl, then the light will emerge, will manifest itself brighter. And then the true happiness will start coming. What is that lid that we have put within ourselves? That is, in fact, you'll be surprised, our own mind. We think that mind should be sharp and intelligent, and that's the greatest tool in human body, right? But if we use that mind, then that will definitely help us to get to that Atman. But most of us are abusing our own mind. And because of that abuse, the mind has created a dark envelope around our own intelligence, our Atman. And so all we see, we in the sense when we are observing our life as a human, we see is that mind's activities. If there is something happening outside, that emotion is reflecting in our mind. We are just boiling. When something great happens, we are just hopping. Yes, we are just reacting to things happening outside of us. We don't care about the inner beauty inside us. If we are not able to stay alone, just get this as an example. Okay, take this as an example, as a test to ourselves. If we can stay alone with ourselves for hours on end, days on end, if you're at least prepared, I'm not feeling any discomfort staying to myself or staying alone, then congratulations. You have a high possibility of making yourself elevating to that level of realizing the Atman, right? We even including myself, I should love to be with myself. Then I can identify who I am truly are. If I am scared of staying alone, or if I don't like, I'm being bored of staying alone, then that means that I'm with, I'm scared to stay with myself, right? Me being around, I'm uncomfortable. So that means I don't like myself. That is not the right, good, healthy mental nature, right? So that is when we should start developing our own meditations. Meditation are the simplest thing to stay alone. Closing our eyes and then meditating on a mantra or meditating on some image will help us develop that slowly of staying alone and knowing the different facets of life, our mind, right? How all mind creates the pictures. Once we close our eyes, then we know the tricks of this mind. And that is when we can take charge of this mind. Otherwise, mind is creating all the images and that is taking control of our life. We are not in charge of us. Mind is in charge of us. Mind is operating its own factory inside of us. It had set up a startup company, factory inside us, and it has started producing thoughts after thoughts after thoughts. And it is also marketing those thoughts to us. Right? And we are also buying into those thoughts and saying that, yeah, these thoughts are good, these thoughts. Have we generated that? Consciously, are we asking this mind to bring in those thoughts? No. If you look at it, for example, you take up a WhatsApp or a mobile phone, just start browsing. After a while, you'll realize that, oh, it's been 1 hour that I've been browsing. How did I just started off with one message from my friend, and then I went into that. My friend's friend posted something, and I saw that post, and my friend liked that post, and I went into that, and so on. And it prompts. Facebook and other apps are so smart that they know the strength of this mind and the weakness of our individual self. They prompt, probably you might like this, probably you might like this, right? Based on our interest, previous interest. And so we get hooked on to it, on and on and on we watch. Those tricks are from the mind. So that differentiation will help us to better our lives. The question was, how will identifying Atman and body will help me, was a question. The answer is that if we know how to differentiate what are the tricks of our mind versus what do we intentionally want the mind to do. If you intentionally want the mind to do something, mind will resist. Have you seen? Okay, sit on meditation for half an hour, mind will resist. First few minutes, it'll be like, it's paining here, it's paining there. I'm so sleepy, headache. Oh no, last night I didn't sleep well. So that's why I'm not. It'll come up with a lot of excuses not doing it. But when you don't want to do something, it will prompt and then do a lot of things. So that taking our life into our own hands is quite possible when we know the difference between who is doing what in our body. I am doing this, my body is doing this, my mind is doing that. That differentiation, 3 levels, will help us, right? That is the reason that we should understand the difference between the Atman and our body. Now let's jump into our verses. We are already late. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. 19th verse. 19th verse, chapter 2. Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. In this verse, Krishna talks about 2 persons. one person who thinks that this Atman can be killed, and the other person thinks that there are objects in this world, there are weapons in this world that can kill an Atma. These two persons have not understood the difference between Atma and body. That is what Krishna is saying. They haven't understood anything about Atma. If any people who think, anyone who thinks that there are weapons in this world that can destroy that Atma, or the Atma itself can be destroyed, both of them are wrong, wrong, wrong. He says clearly. Now let's understand why is it that so. Because ubhautau na vijanito, ubhautau na is both of them are in not in understanding of things. Nayam hanti na hanyate, na ayam, na ayam. So na ayam is this. This he refers to Atman. Hanti na hanyate, neither can it be destroyed, nor there are any weapons to destroy this. Ya enam, who, enam, this, veti, knows, hantaram, any objects, anyone who can destroy this Atman. Yascha enam, manyate hatam. So think that it can be killed. Ubhautau na vijanito, both of them not in understanding. Now, the fundamental point that he is trying to make is, there are no weapon ever in this world, any object ever in this world that can destroy your Atman. Now, why is Krishna saying about destruction here and weapons available here? Because Arjuna brought up the point, right? How when I use my weapons against these people who are standing here, many people are going to die. And in our side and their side, many people are going to fall dead, which means that I am doing a lot of injustice. That is not right. That's not the rightest thing to do. Now Krishna is answering to him saying that, Arjuna, don't think that your weapons will do any harm to that Atman. That weapons are just hurting only the body, which is materialistic by nature, that is bound to die. Then Arjuna asked, why? Why is it that body can die and why is it that Atman cannot die? Then Krishna gave explained saying that body is composed of 5 elements of nature, right? Anything that, everything in our body is made up of 5 elements. What are those? Earth, fire, water, wind, and space, right? All of them are there in this body also. This earth is also made up of these 5 elements. For example, earth itself, right? And fire, water, wind, and space. In our body, fire, let that fire be optimal. The temperature has to be normal. It cannot be too high, it cannot be too low. And water, exactly the same amount of water, 71% of or something on earth, right? Ocean water. About the same is what is there in our body also. Water. Water is very essential. Air, wind, of course, without wind, we are not there, right? And then this earth is nothing but, this physical body is our earth, right? Because this material, the muscles, the tissues, you can think of them as earth, component of earth, because of the fruits and vegetables that we eat, right? Whatever that is there on earth is what we eat, and that's what our body is made up of. Space, of course, everywhere inside the body, we have space. That is what is made up of our body. Anything that is made up of this mixture of 5 elements is always bound to decay and destroy. A classic example that people used to give is this. You keep the rava upma, the khichdi that we all make, right? You keep the rava separately, it will be there for 1 or 2 months, right? If you keep water separately, it will be there. Salt separately, it will be there forever. Put them together, mix it, and prepare a khichdi. It won't even last for at night, right? Next day, you can't eat it. That is the nature of our human body, because this human body is a mixture of prakritic elements. Prakritik is this, whatever in this 5 elements. It is bound to decay, destroy, and fall dead one day. Whereas this Atman inside us is not made of any prakritic elements, but it is made out of aprakritam, which means the same material that God is made out of, right? That is not bound to be destroyed, and that is why you cannot. In this verse, Krishna is saying that do not assume that you will hurt him or you have the weapons to hurt that Atma. Nothing, both of them are not correct. So don't worry. Now, next verse. Verse 20. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah. Ajo nitya shasvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So Krishna in this verse says that again, najayate mriyate, it can neither be born nor die. This is forever, not just now or after some time, but ever, never in the past, ever. It can never be born or die. Nayam bhutva bhavita vaya vana bhuyah. Nor once in the past did it exist, and it will not exist in the future. No such thing as it existed then, and it will not exist in the future. Ajo ajaha. Ajaha is without birth. Ja is birth. Ajaha, without birth. Nityaha, permanent, eternal, always. It's not just for today. Ajaha is probably Arjuna is asking this question. You can think of it like, I know maybe it is Ajaha, but it is just for 100 years, every once in 200, 250 years, will it born and die, or forever? That is the reason he's saying Nityaha. It is always like that. It is never like it's born and change. Changes are not part of Atman. Changes are part of only this prakritic body. Changes are not part of Brahman. And then he says, Shashvata, Shashvataha. Shashvataha is your unchanging. Like, for example, it will live forever. What if Arjuna asks this question? Something like, it can live forever. Atman lives forever and then it never dies. But will it change its behavior? Like, for example, as a human, I'll be normal now, but after a while, I'll show my madness against someone. After some time, I'll laugh, right? So this kind of change is associated with the body. We see humans, right? We see ourselves also. So is this Atman, is any such thing subject to change? That is where he's saying Shashvatah. It's not subject to any change at all. Puranaha. It is just recently that way, or it is ancient. Since time immemorial, it had been like that. There is nothing like it became that way. It had been like this way all the time. Ajo nityaha shashvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Even nahanyate, it cannot be killed. Hanyamane sharire, even when the body is killed. Even this body is killed, that Atma never gets killed. That is the point that Shri Krishna is driving here. Now let's see. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajam avyayam katham sapurushah partha kam ghatayati hantikam. So, any object that is subject to destruction has to go through this phases. For example, phase 1 will be it exists, and then it will be in a stage of it's born, and then it will be in the stage of it is growing, and then it will be in the stage of it is changing, and then it will move on to the stage of shrinking, and then it will be in the stage of died. This 6 stages is inevitable for anything that is created in this physical world. It is true with a human body, right? It existed, it's born. I mean, it exists in the womb of a mother, and then it is born, right? So it is born. That's the stage that we call it as, oh, the baby is born, the birthday, and then it grows. Wow, baby is grown so tall. You have become a tall girl or boy, right? And then we are subject to changes. So what happened to your skin? What happened to your hair? Right? We ask all those things. Our skin and hair and muscles change. And then we start shrinking. Old age, right? You bend and you become smaller and smaller, and at the time of towards the end, we can be as small as a baby, like what we were born originally. And then finally we reach the stage of it's no longer there, death, right? These 6 stages is true for anything that is created on this earth. It can be an organization. Some people will, 4 people will get together and they think that we'll go to start an organization, a startup company. It exists in the mind. Now it is born, and then it will grow. The company grows, and then it will get into different business, right? So it will change, and then it will shrink one point of time, right? And it will be sold to some other company, or it will be dissolved, and then it will disappear from the face. So these 6 stages are unavoidable. Krishna is going to say in the later verses, but these 6 stages is true for your body also, because it is also made of physical elements. And so do not worry about this, because these 6 stages are inevitable and you will have to face it in your body. Whereas your Atman is created not out of prakritam, physical elements, and so they is not subjected to the 6 stages. So neither can it have the born stage, nor can it have the growth stage, nor can it have the change, shrink, and destroy. Because only when it passes through that stage, you will have to think about death. Now, where is the question of death when these stages itself are not at all there? Is what Krishna's argument here. So Veda vinashinam, Veda, know it. Veda is know. Know this to be avinashinam. Avinashinam is, you cannot destroy that. It is indestructible. Nityam, always it exists. Ya enam, this, right? One who knows this. One who knows this. Ya is that one, right? One who. Veda is no. One who knows this to be avinashinam, indestructible. And one who knows this to be nityam, which is eternal, ever, not just today or tomorrow, it's eternal. And also one who knows this to be ajam avyayam. Ajam is birth, birthless. Knows this to be birthless and avyayam, not subject to any changes. Then how can he, Arjuna, will slay other Atma, or will try to kindle others to slay one more Atma? That is the question that he is asking in the next line. Katham sa purushaha. Katham is how. How is it possible? How is that person who knows these things to be eternal, to be birthless, to be changeless, one who knows this Atma to be changeless, birthless, and eternal, how will he ever going to kill another Atma? We will not do that, right? Because that will be like, if I know that this wall is here, and I cannot break this wall by breaking my head on this. But if I try to do this, I think that, okay, I can break this wall by banging my head on this, then that is real stupidity, because I'm doing something that is impossible, right? So that is why here he calls out and says that that person who knows this knowledge will never ever do this. And so that is why I wanted you also, Arjuna, to know the secret, so that you are not going to hurt the Atma, but you are just hurting only the body. That is what he says. And then finally he says, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grannati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani nyanyani samyati navani dehi. This is one of the important slokas in Bhagavad Gita, and a simple and easy to understand also. Krishna draws a parallel here. Arjuna, a person who's wearing clothes, let's say, once those clothes were worn out, what will you do? You just throw them out, shed them, right? Just give it away or throw it away. And you get a new shirt, right? New dress. You put them on and be happy. That's how we have seen. We have never seen that people holding on to their worn out clothes and saying that, oh, even though I have new clothes, I will have to get rid of them. I feel so bad. Maybe some precious dress will be there. I'm not talking about that. In general, right? We won't be worried about that. As long as we get some new clothes, just dispose, get rid of it, and be happy about it. In fact, that is how we have seen people, Arjuna. Same way here also, once your body is like a worn out cloth in your old age. Once it has reached that stage, your body is already worn out. It's not useful anymore. Now this Atma is ever young, ever youthful. It never gets old, right? That is the beauty of understanding the difference between body and Atma. Only to a body we age. But if you are associated, attached, and identified with that Atman, you are always youthful. So you don't have to worry about shedding off this body. So you are going to get a new body. Who will not worry? Who will not say no to, right? No one will ever say no to that if you are getting a new body, if you are given a new body. And so that should not be a problem at all, right? So that is the reason he said Vasamsi. Vasamsi is the dress, clothes. Jirnani is worn out, has been used up. Yatha vihaya, discarded. How? Yatha is how it is, the same way it is discarded. Navani grannati naroparani. Right? We are accepting that. We are accepting new dress. Navani. Grannati is accepting. We are accepting to that. Naroparani. Nara is humans. Humans do that typically. Tatha sharirani. The same way. Sharirani is this body. Vihaya jirnani. Discarded. Once this body is discarded, once it becomes worn out or too old. Nyanyani samyati navani dehi. Anyani, other body, right? Anyani, other body. Samyati, it just goes together. The Atma goes with another new body, and that is about it, is what he says. Now, this will really be helpful. Some people, especially when that is the reason that Bhagavad Gita is good to listen to Bhagavad Gita toward, when people are old, at least at that time when they are scared of death. This will give them a big relief that nothing to be scared of, nothing to be worried. You are going to get a new body, right? That's what now Krishna says that to Arjuna in the battlefield. None of them are going to go waste, because all those Atmas are going to enter a new body. And so why are you worried about it? Big time. Nothing to worry about it at all. And with that, we come to the end of this week's session. I'll see you all next week with another set of verses. Until then, have a good rest of the week.